So today we are going to learn about CSS. So for CSS, first we have to create a HTML file. Suppose we will create HTML file first. First we'll write doc type, right? Then HTML. Then we will write HTML. So in that we'll write a head tag. Okay. Inside head tag actually. We can actually first write the title of our document. We are learning the CSS here, right? So after that, let's now also create our style.css file, right? So after that, we want to actually connect this HTML file with our CSS file. First actually write a body tag. Inside this body tag we will write our HTML and CSS styles, right? So inside this I will write a simple div, right? So here I will write hello world, and after that, so we will start this on the server, right? So yesterday I told that actually how you can start this server. I have actually installed on the from extensions. This is a live server, right? So this is a live server I have installed from VS Code extensions, right? So now I will hide this. So here if I click on, let's just hide our sidebar because we do not need that right now. Hidden. Okay, so let's start. Okay, let's go live again. Okay, so here our learn CSS HTML is rendering at this address. This is the host and 5500 is port name, and then slash basics.html because we have created our basics. Let me see, view the explorer. We have created basics.html, so it will run at slash basics, right? So it is saying server is started at port 5500. I will close this pop-up. Now I will also close this sidebar. So now we will merge this because I want to work side by side. That will be visible properly, right? So we have written hello world here. So now actually to connect this HTML CSS, right, we will write link, right? We will use the link tag to actually link our style sheet, right? We will write reference style sheet, and href is style.css, right? Because our CSS file name is style.css. Inside this actually first we will start with the CSS classes. That's the most basic thing that we're going to use with CSS. So CSS class is defined by CSS class attribute inside any div I can say div tag, right? So this is the div tag or any HTML tag, right? So we write with this HTML tag class. Inside this class we can actually write anything. Let's say title, right? So inside style, how we are going to actually write this style, we will write it with dot notation, and then I will write title, and with curly braces we will write actual style. Here let me write size larger. Okay, So here, wait a minute, let me actually make it a little bit more bigger so that we can know that our style is applied. Okay, style is actually not applied. Wait a minute. We have that link, right? There is style sheet and style.css href, and here is our class's title, right? And style.css font size, okay, is our title. This is our style.css. I have set it to font size as 15 rem, right? So let's make it to 1550 px. Okay, so let's see what we're doing. Learn CSS link is okay, it's rel actually. Yeah, now it's working, right? So this style and HTML are now connected with rel style sheet and href style.css. I can write 15 rem here. It will become in more bigger, right? So for now, just let it be large, or I can say larger. Larger. Okay, so this is our very basic actually style sheet, right? So now we are going to work with some CSS styles, right? There are so many like CSS styles we can apply, right? So this is actually div tag, but mostly we will be writing some text inside the p tag, right? So I will be writing p. Okay, so this p is paragraph, this is paragraph. Okay, for now we will remove this actually. So inside this actually we can write class, I can write paragraph, and we will also remove this actually. I will write paragraph. Okay, inside this we will now actually style our text, right? So first we will style the text. Okay, so there are so many like font properties we can actually use, right? So first let's write font family. Okay, so it has lots of option like Korean New, Franklin, Gotham, Gilsons. So let's check Arial, serif. Okay, as you can see, our font style, or I can say font family is changed, right? So let's make it a little bit larger so that we can know what's happening. So actually let's make it like 15px. it's smaller. Let's make it 50px. It's larger. Okay. Now for font size is to actually increase the font size of our text, right? So here we have increased its size to 50 pixels. Then we will write font weight. It can be like bold. Mostly we will be writing as bold. You can see our text is now bold, right? So wait a minute, let me put it here. Okay, so after that we will write font style. Font style can be like italic, like it will italicize our font style, right? So there are other options. Normal, oblique, select oblique face or an italic face if not one. Okay, this oblique. Okay, so let's write it in italicize it, right? So now font weight is bold. Actually most of the time we will be using bold, but bold is little bit too bolder, right? So actually there are numbers like 100, from 100 to 900, for which you can actually select the weight of your font. 100 is actually least amount value. Then 400, it will be a little bit more become more bolder. Then now it's become even more bolder. Now I will select 700, right? 700 is more bolder. Then 900 is like boldest, but most of the time 500 is actually a good value, right? So it will not make like make our text look like too much like a fat look, right? So after that we can actually color our text. So for color we can simply write color, and we get the options, different color options we can apply. So also here is the code written below these colors, that is the code of these particular colors. Let's now make it crimson. Okay, so our font color is now crimson, right? So yeah, so that's the properties of like fonts. There are other like we can apply, for example, text decoration. Then we have option of dashed actually. So no, dotted line through. Okay, it is line through, or we can say strike through. And after that there are other options like underline. It will make our code or text underlined. Then after that there is overline. Oh, okay, so this will place a line above our text. After that there is let's explore other options. Wavy, produce a wavy line. Okay, so here are the colors. Okay, we will not get into that. Just for now make it underline, right? So this text decoration underline. And after that there is a property text decoration color. color, we can actually, let's write aqua, right? So here the color of the underline will be different than the color of our text. So this is the property text decoration color. And after that there is line height. Okay, let's write something more. This is a paragraph. Here we are applying the styles to our paragraph text, right? So here we have written the longer paragraph. Now there is a property called letter lines height. Let's test it. And what are the options? Normal, unset. No, we will give a numerical value here. Let's write 1.5. As you can see, there is a more space between these lines, right? So this is the line height. Let me set it to 1. Okay, let me comment it. Okay, 1 is just too much less space. 1.5, 1.4, 1.5. Okay, 1.5. 1.4. I think 1.4 is okay looking line height. Then there is a letter spacing, the spacing between letters. It will also get a CSS unit, right? Letter spacing. Oh, there's so much spacing between letter. 1px. By default, I think there is no spacing, right? Yes. So if we get letter spacing 1px, 10px will be too much. Yeah, that is just too much. So now we have the letter spacing, then text transform. Okay, we can actually also transform our text transform. Then it can be, let's explore the options. We can capitalize it. Okay, actually now every first word of our every first character of every word is now capitalized. Great. Now lowercase, if I say lowercase, every word is lowercase. If I comment this, okay, so it will, lowercase will make every character lowercase. Uppercase, okay, it will make every character the uppercase, but we will just choose capitalize because this is actually good. We want to make our first character of every word capitalize. That is the text transform. Then there is a property to shadow our text shadow. Okay, here we can apply shadow. Great. Then 4px. It has made our code little blurry. We can even now apply color like blue. Oh, look at that, what our text has become. Okay, let me apply the same color we have applied in the underline. Right, so this is the text shadow. Let's not apply too much of text shadow. Okay, we will also cover the shadow thing, right? So we'll cover this deeply. So let's go to our next concept. We have covered the styles of our text, right? textile. I will be back in 5 minutes. Wait till then, guys. Okay, so this was all about our CSS styles, text styles, right? So after that, let's explore some other options in the CSS styling. Let me, okay, let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, this is good. So now actually we can write the styles inside our body, right? So for that, okay, how to, so there are some other options to style our whole body, right? So inside our body, okay, actually not like that. We have to actually inside style tag we can put body, right? So inside body we can write like background color, like what I can say, we can write like darken. Okay, so our background is changed. Let me change it a little bit. Okay, so right, so this was how we can actually style our whole body, right? So here actually some of the styles are global by nature, like font family. You don't want to place font family style inside every class name, like wherever you want to write text. So this will be transferred to body, right? There are some other text like font weight. We want our font weight to be same everywhere, right? Also, and also I think font size we will increase a little bit. First I will place it here, and then it's just too much bigger. I think 25 is good, right? So font style, okay, so that was our style of our paragraph. So now we have covered some very basic CSS styling. Okay, we have now put the style in our body that will apply to our whole HTML document. Okay, so now okay, now let's dive deeper into the more CSS styles like padding, margin, and some other styles that we can use with the div, right? So here we are using the style.css. Let me put it this way. Let's actually comment this out. Okay, right, so actually I can So yesterday we have created a new HTML file. Let's okay, now we will actually learn a little bit about flexbox. That is the famous layout for the elements, right? So inside div, let's create our, say, p tag. Okay, so inside this let's write left component, and inside this right component. Okay, so now, so one style we want to apply in our whole body is the text color. We inside our body we want our whole text to be white. Okay, right, so it's white now. Let's make it a little bit to the grayish tone. Okay, no, it's too much grayish. Let's make it a little bit more, a little bit less grayish. Okay, it's good. So font weight, actually, let's write our font weight bold, because we want to be want them to be visible, right? So here is the left component, here is the right component. So here, okay, so now we will learn about flexbox, right? So flexbox is actually, let's learn about flexbox. Okay, so in CSS tricks, really good website to learn about flexboxes, right? So here, this is actually flexbox. Actually, suppose we want to actually put some of our elements or HTML elements inside a container. So that's when the flexbox will be used. It is to actually apply some flex directions inside our components, right? Like it can be left to right, right to left, up down, and you can also flex wrap, right? So you can also justify content. Suppose you want all your items to be on the flex start, then you can use flex start. We will just use that. Okay, right? So okay, here we will just make a class name. It will be like flex flex learn. Okay, so we will place the same class inside style.css. Okay, right? So okay, right. Flex learn. Okay, so now we are learning the flex box. First, actually, when we want to make some of our container as a flex, we will write display as flex, right? So flex display automatically places our items inside our container. So here is the now, as we have applied flex on this div, it will be a flex box container. So every item inside this by default will be in the column, though that's why now left and right component are in column, same column, right? If I comment this, now they are up and down in the row. Okay, so if you want to now make them in the row, then you can write flex text direction row. No, actually column. We want to in column. Okay. Right. So flex direction is now in the column. Okay. So we can also reverse the items inside our flex column reverse. So right component is on above, left component is on right, right? So let it remain in the row, right? So after that, now, okay. So we have styled flex component. Actually, now we can make a gap between columns, right? We can write column gap. Column gap is 1. Actually, let's write 12 px. As you can see, there is a little bit gap applied between these two components, or I can say paragraph, right? So that's the flexbox. Okay, so we will be working with flexbox more extensively, right? So there are other things that we can do actually. So actually, when you want to see how the items are placed inside the container, you can actually apply a CSS property like border. Okay, so let's write border width. Okay, it will apply the border to our flexbox on px. Okay, so then we will write border style as solid, right? And it will be we can also make dash, dotted, groove, hidden. For now we'll make it the solid. Where is the solid option? Okay, this is a solid, right? So as you can see, there's a border applied of width of 1 pixel, and it's a solid, right? So now we can see our items are on the left hand side of this flex box, right? So we can even color our border, right? Border color, right? So after that we can make our like border, let's say gray. Now you can see it's a little grayish tone. Okay, make it a little bit less grayish. Now in our body, I'm not actually liking the background color. Let's make it a little bit to the bluish tone and little bit darker. Okay, so we are almost. So okay, so we have changed our background a little bit. Okay, so now border color is applied. So after that we can actually make our items in the center. For that there is a property of flexbox, justify content center. Okay, so here you can see our items are at the center of this flexbox container, right? So that's why we had used the border in the first place, to actually know what is happening, right? Without it we can't actually say how our flexbox is rendering. So here is the complete guide, right? Justify content, we can actually place it to center. That's we have just applied, right? You can also use flex start, flex end, right? I will just show it. I will to show it, let's make our components middle. Okay, let's remove this component text, just write them left, middle, right. Okay, so now they are in the middle. Okay, so we can actually write flex start, it will be at the start of flex. I can write flex end, it will be at the end of flex, right? So there is a space between style. Okay, there will be space in between these elements inside div, right? So there is also space around and space evenly, space around. Then there will be space also on the left and right, right? Then space evenly. Yeah, if we want to space them evenly in every gap, right? So this is the justify content. So now actually there's one more concept of the CSS, that is shorthand properties. So here actually we have applied the border, we have given the border width, border style, border color, but actually it is taking 3 lines of code. We can actually make it shorter. Then after that we will write border, border, we will simply write 1px. First property will be width, right? Second will be its style, solid, right? So then we will provide this color. This third property will be color. Okay, so as you can see, this single line has all the 3 properties, right? So this is called the CSS shorthand, right? So we will remove this. Okay, so actually don't need to do this. Actually we can simply write gray. Okay, right. So we have now flexbox ready. So these are how we have flexed them, right? So actually there is also align items, right? Let's check that. Align items, align items, let's write it flex start. Okay, right. Flex start, actually it's not applying. So this is how flex items are laid out along the cross axis on the current line. Okay, as I justify content version of the cross axis perpendicular to main axis. So actually justify content is for make aligning our items is horizontally, and align items is to align items vertically, right? So that's how it's done, right? So now Now here in this flex learn, we will also learn about the paddings, right? So okay, let me, okay, right. So this is the flex box, right? So we will also learn about grid layout, right? Grid layout. Okay, so we will use the same things, right? We will write a div and we will write this left, middle, right. Okay, and inside this we will give it a class name of grid learn. Grid learn. Okay, we will give it the same class inside style.css grid learn. Okay, so let's learn about grid. So write the grid here. Let's run the CSS grid module. Okay, right. So grid layout offers a grid-based layout system which with rows and columns, making it easier to design web pages without having to use floats and positioning, right? So for that, you don't have to actually position your layout. You can actually use grid very easily, right? So here is the grid element, right? Okay, so first, if you want to apply grid, you have to set the display as grid, right? Okay, so let's go to this. Okay, so now let's just comment it first. As you can see, when we have applied grid, okay, the grid is applied. So so how our grid is rendering on our page, we will just write border 1px solid gray. Okay, so here grid is used, right? Grid learn left, middle, right, they are in the column, right? Okay, so so now let's put there is a property of grid template rows. How we want to define our rows actually, let me write 100px 200px. Okay, so what it will do is it will create the first row. It will set the height 100px, right? So second row it will set the height of 200px. So that's why it is more gap and it is less gap. This is like 100, this is like 200, right? So let's also use grid template columns. Okay, so let's write 100px. Okay, nothing will be happening because there's only one column, right? So this is already in the column, right? Now this is the actually very simple grid, right? So we will now learn about Okay, let's remove this. We have now only grid template columns. Let's write 100 px. Okay, so what it has done is it has created the two columns, right? One is of 100 px, another is of also 100 px. So that's why two columns are created, right? So now we can actually make our third column 100 px. Now as you can see, it is in the third column, right? So now actually you can replace these units with auto units, that is 1fr, right? So or you can use auto here, auto, auto, auto. Okay, so as you can see, their difference or gaps is almost the same, right? So mostly you will be using the auto, right? Okay, that's the grid template columns property, right? Right, so here actually I can apply grid to the, let's say, left one, middle one, and right one. Okay, so now we will copy this and create two more copies of this, right? So now you can see, right? So we have three grids actually. So actually we can place them inside div element, right? So inside div we will place this in just below grid learn. Okay, so now we'll make class name here like grid main, right? So here okay, so we have three main grids, right? So actually we can write it a class name grid main, right? Display grid, right? So here actually now we can place this grid template rows. Like first row is 100 px, second row is 200 px, and I can just write 300 px as third row, right? So we can see we have a variable grid template rows, right? But mostly we will be using auto, right? And auto. Okay, so this is a grid. Okay, but that's actually not how you will do the grid, right? So let's write it two, let's write it two, let's write it two, three, three, three. Okay, so we don't want to use grids like this, right? So actually we can place all our items inside this grid main, and we will just put it here, right? And we'll also put it here. Okay, right? So we will remove this grid learn. Okay, inside grid main we will put our border here. Okay, so the main border, and we will remove this, right? Okay, so actually now we will learn how we can place all the items in a grid, right? So grid template rows auto means we have 3 rows. Okay, but we want to convert into columns, 3 columns, right? So now as you can see, grid has created the 3 columns, right? 1 2 3, and their I can say width is auto, right? So that's why they are in the same, they have the same gap, right? So okay, grid template rows. So that's how you can actually place or put a layout on your items, right? So this is a very basic example. So there is a property of grid gap. Actually, grid gap, if you want the gap between your grid items, let's write 15px. We can see there is a more gap between our grids, right? So that's grid gap. We can even put the like row gap specifically, and let's say column gap is, let it set it a little bit larger. Okay, or column gap, let me just expand it a little bit, right? Column gap, let it be 5. Let it be 500, right? So as you can see, our items are going out of place, and because we have set too much of column gap, we do not want to do that, right? And just remove the row gap. Okay, so just remove that. So actually, so there is another P, another style property in CSS, where by giving simply a name of HTML tag without using a dot notation, you can apply on all the items in your HTML, right? Suppose I want to style all my P HTML tags, right? I don't want to use any class name. So for that, just write P, and let's set the border as, I want to set the border on every paragraph HTML tag, right? So as you can see, we have a border on every paragraph, solid. Then after that, yeah, as usual, gray. Okay, so now as you can see, our paragraph text is on the left hand side, every paragraph text, right? So for that, actually, now okay, so what if we want to place items in the center? Let's write place items center. Okay, so here it has placed our items inside the center. Then there's equal gap on the left and right and between these items. Place item center has worked. Let's write it center. Okay, so this is a grid. Right, that's great. So we have covered our flexbox and grid, right? Now let's put some styles on our HTML tags, right? So yesterday I have created some HTML files. Let me just open a new window. HTML. Okay, so here actually I have created some dummy HTML like sign up forms purely in HTML and contact us purely in HTML. If I go live, right, as you can see, this is running at forms contact us. So this is our contact us form, very simple form, right? So let's try to style it. Okay, so for now let's make a new file. Actually, rather than making a new file, we will copy this contact us and I will paste it here. Paste. Okay, forms contact us, right? So we have forms contact us. We will close basics.html. Now forms contact us, we will also link our this HTML with our style sheet, rel style sheet, and after that let's do something like what we can do. Rel style sheet and then href attribute. Href, we will give the address of our style CSS file, style.css. Okay, now it's connected. We'll close the sidebar, right? So now we are going to style this label input, right? So inside this, let's style the label, right? We want to style every label. Let's see if it applies. Let me just first test it. Font size, let me write 50 or like suppose 100 px. Okay, style is actually not applied here. For that, actually just create a new class with the form class, form, right? Simply name it form, right? So okay, so here we have applied the form class. If I write form in front of this, let me form dot label. Okay, so CSS nesting, actually we can nest it like this. Let me test it. And label, right? This is not applied actually. Form custom, let's write form custom here, and just write form custom, then label. Okay, let's write dot. This is forms, actually form custom. I want to style this form. Inside this form I've applied this class name, so let's let's remove this class actually. Let's write something like this, form dot label. Font size, let's write 200 pixel. Form, wait a minute, form label. Okay, we don't use dot notation. Actually, I think styles is not applied here, if I'm not wrong. Style is not applied because background is not applied. Okay, let me write a p tag here, p tag test. Let me close this and refresh it. Okay, I think there is some our project was not running at HTML was not running at 500 port. Right. Just close it. Yes, now we can see our style is applied on our forms. We have to just write form, then label. So then this label is inside this form. So every label inside form will have this class. Right. So let's now okay, it's too much larger. Let's make it a little bit smaller. No, actually 15 px. Right, so let's write font weight bold. Okay, just remove this start columns. semicolons from here. It's not looking very good. Okay, so now we want to label to take the width. Let's write the border. I always use this to check the where our like how much space our items are taking. So to check how much space our form label is taking, let's apply the border here. Let's apply the width as 100%. There is also CSS property width, so it's not 100%. Let's write display block. Okay, so actually display block will do what is, first they were rendering on the same line, but block will tell the CSS to make this component take the whole line. So this is taking whole line, so width is 100%. Let's remove the width. All right, so now we will cover another topic, that is padding, right? So as you can see, there is no space between this email here message. We want to render some space between that. So actually we can write padding actually 15px. As you can see, the padding is applied here inside every label. 15px is still too much large. 5px is good. So here we have styled our label, form label. Now we want to style also the inputs. Let's write form input. Okay, so as you can see, input let's also make a padding inside input. Let's test it. 15px. Yeah, now when we fill the something, there is a space in our input component, right? So now I will remove the border from our labels. Okay, so now they're looking good. I want to just remove the pixel of padding, right? Okay, so actually for padding there is a like short form. Also, suppose I want to apply padding on the left, we can use padding left to 15px. Every label have a padding of 15px to the left, but there is a shorthand we can use with the padding. So I will just open it. CSS padding. So here this is the padding, and there are the properties: padding top, padding right, padding bottom, padding left, right? So yeah, there is a padding shorthand, right? So if we write like this, the first value will be padding top, then it's padding right, then padding bottom, then padding left, right? So we'll remove this. We will write the top is 0, nothing. We don't want anything at the top level, right? So then top, then right. We also don't want any space on the right. Then after right, there's bottom. We want some space like 15px on the bottom. Then we want a space on 15, right? Okay, so we have space on the bottom. 15 is too much. We'll write 5px, right? So now CSS padding is done. Okay, so here is our padding, right? So we have also applied padding in the input field, so we can do the same thing in the input, right? So at the top we want a padding of, let's say 2px, 2 pixels. Then and the right 0 pixels, and in the bottom again 2 pixel, and on the left I want the padding of 5 px. Then if I write this, it will start a little from right. If I just increase it, you can see our input is starting from this space. First there will be gap of 15 pixels. Then it will just start from here. Let's write the 9 pixel here. Now it's looking good. Okay, so in the input, let's also write, I want to just zoom it a little bit. Okay, so I also want our font to be bold, font weight bold, right? Wait a minute. Okay, so our font is now bold. It's just too much bold. Let's make it 500, right? If I do not make it 500, let's 500 is not making any difference. I think it's 500 by default, right? Let's make it 600. Font weight. Okay, now let's put a body tag. We have our basics. This is a body style we have used. Let's copy it, paste this same style. We have to put it inside style tag. Right. Okay, so as you can see, this is our contact us form. We are making it, right? So just close this padding. We have this nice looking, right? So now just close this basics.html. When we hover on this, it is getting selected. Okay, we want the same thing on the text area of the, we have also used here the text area. We will also use form text area, right? So we will use the same styles as this. Okay, right? Let me check one thing. If in the form I write font size as 15px and font weight as bold, let me remove font weight from this. Okay, so if I apply on form, they will not be applied here. Okay, all right, so we have applied the same style on text area, right? So label, I think there on this label less space is applied. I don't know why. Let me check. Order 1 px solid. Okay, just remove it. Remove this border, right? So now what I can do is we can improve it a little bit. Now there is a CSS property border radius, right? Border radius is 5px, right? As you can see, if I zoom it, some border is applied here, right? Now as you can see, border is applied on our inputs, right? But there is some weird grayish border on that. For that, let's write border none, right? As you can see, it is removed, right? We can also make our outline none, right? So as you can see, if we click on this, it's not outlined, right? So that is property of outline. We can also use the same property for CS text area. Now it will not be outlined. Let's also write border none here, none. Okay, and also border radius as 5px, right? So as you can see, there is a border radius on our every input element. Okay, so there is also input type submit. So as I told that we can actually use button here, right? So there is another thing that we can use, like suppose input form input, I think type is equals to submit, then it will be applied the style to this input. Let's write padding 15px, right? The padding is applied here. Cool. So it is actually rendering on the right hand side. I want to render it on the bottom. Okay, let's actually make a button for this. Button submit type is equals to submit. We actually will comment this, right? So now we will style our button. We will now inside our form style our button, right? Button should be padding 5px, right? Actually there is, if we use two values, right, like two values inside padding, this will be top and bottom, this will be left and right, right? So as you can see, left and right is more and top is little bit less. Let's reduce it to 2 pixels and write the border radius of button as 5 px, right? And border is none, right? So let's make its background color. There is a CSS property for background color. Okay, so background color will change its background to, like, let's say we want to make it let's make it what color can we apply? Chartreuse. Okay, right? So also font weight, bold, right? So also, okay, so why it's taking the whole space? So let's also make the display of this as block, so it will take whole line, right? So now we will actually use a margin property for this. Let's write margin. We will also give a pixels value for this, right? As you can see, margin is applied on this, right? So yeah, this is our contact us. We're almost into 1 hour 28 minutes, right? Okay. So our button is style. So now we can actually fill our name, like John, message. We will fill grade, product, right? We'll submit it, right? So this is our contact us form created using pure HTML and CSS. Okay, so now we have forms contact us. We have actually styled it, right? So now we will use another style. Let me open it. Let me open some more files we have created yesterday, right? In the HTML, there is a sign up form we have created. Okay, so we will also copy this and we will paste it here, right? Sign up form, and then we will import this style with the body and the link inside our sign up. Okay, we'll close this, and now inside our address, We will write form signup.html, right? As you can see, the styles are automatically applied on our form, right? So yep, so we'll after that, we'll close the sidebar. Now I want my inputs to take the whole space. So for that, let me write width as 100%. Right, it's taking a width as 100%. Cool. So let me write it like fit content. Not fit content. I want to make it 100%. Let's write it 100%, right? Okay. So inside body, right? So let's put it inside the whole sign up form, inside main, right? So just close it with the main. So in the style, we want to style our main doc, and let's give it a padding of 15 px. Let me write it 50. Okay, not dot main, actually main. Right, so it has given the padding of 50 px to our form. Now it's in the middle, right? So if I open it inside another window, okay, right? So right now it is taking actually on the full page, it's not looking very good. What I want to do is I want to inside our form input, I want to decrease the width by like only 50%. Let me just place it here. Okay, like 50%. Now let me just also try to merge it here. Let's see how it's looking now. Okay. If I increase the width, 50 px. Let me decrease the padding a little bit. Now it's 25 px. Now hello. Going games technique. So we have created our sign up form. When we expand it, it's looking good. Actually, there should not be a width of 50%. If I Okay, if I now uncomment it, it is actually decreasing its width. Okay, so rather than 50%, I can put actually a fixed value for its width. So now, regardless of how much I expand it, its width will not change, right? Let me just increase it a little bit. 15 rem. Okay, so actually let's try to increase the top end. This is top, this is right, this is bottom paddings, right? So now it's looking actually good. Actually, for the label there is too much space with the label and input. I want to decrease a little bit. Where is this padding? Actually, padding off, this should be 1, right? Okay, actually 1 is good, 1 is looking good. So what happened to our our label here has got out of place. Let me put it inside span. No. Okay. So, right. Actually, let's not write like that. Just write like that. Then label. Huh. Okay, so label, there is some issue with the label. Let's make it a display of, we want to align items, display flex, and then align items center. What happened? Input mail. Wait a minute. Actually, it is improved a little bit, but there is still some space between male and female. Let's write justify content at flag start start. Let's write it. Okay, it's still not worked. Justify content flag start. Our drop down is also looking good, right? Okay, let me just check what is happening here. Let me in the input. We used button. Yeah, we have used button. Then inside input, let me check with the border 1px solid. Let me check with the border what is. Huh. Let me just increase it. Okay. From input, this is input type radio. Let me just specifically use it with input type radio. Input type radio, and here it has. Okay, so let me write span. Span. Okay, so let me write a class name for it, like label span. Label span. Let me write it here. Okay, now it's little bit okay. Let me write the border here. Copy, then paste. Let me remove the justify content center. Let me put a border on the label and just do that. Border 1px solid. So okay, here in our border it is taking the space. Align items is center, we don't need that. Let's remove the padding. Okay, mail. So how I can display flex and justify content on let me go to CSS flexbox and complete guide to flexbox. After that, just justify content flex start, right? Justify content flex start, right? We will just go to here. Let me write padding left as -15 rem, padding left. Okay, so one thing we can do is when nothing is happening, just remove that. Okay, so from the label also remove the border, right? So we will check this with the, let me expand it. We will check it with this. What is happening here? Input type radio. Let me style it, try to style it here. Display flex, you can also do that. Justify content center and flex start, flex left, normal right. Okay, nothing is happening on this. Okay, form input of radio input. Margin. Let me set the margin as 0. Margin 0. Margin 0. It's displaced a little bit. Okay, what else is applied here? Let me also use padding here. Padding of 0. Right. Okay. Right. So here, okay, form type input, label span, form sign up. Actually we have created label for us. There is still some problem. Let me use it here. Use it here. Okay. So male, female. But this is not coming to the left. It's not coming to left. What we can do now? Let me close this. Label span and label. Okay, what we could have done, display block. Let me just remove a block from here. Okay. Let me merge the two things, this window and code. And now, okay, this style.css. Display of block and right. Remove this display block and okay, so let me open this, actually just over here, input type radio, then margin 0, let's write padding 0 or minus, let's write margin of minus something, minus 50 px. There must be some issue with the label styling. Let's just remove all the label styling. Let me apply it. I think the issue is with the display, right? If I'm not wrong. Okay, I will be back in a little bit. Center. Let's try to put it center. Okay. I think there's some styling issue with this video. We will fix that later. Now until then, just look into the code. I will be back in like 5 minutes. Now we will try to style the table. Let's open the new window, and inside that open HTML. We had our table code, tables.html. Lists miscellaneous and semantic elements, table, then form. Okay, yeah, now we will style our table. You will copy this, and we'll close this and our paste it inside our project. Now we will copy this line, style and link, put in inside the table head. So our style sheet is now linked. Okay, close it, zoom it little bit. So now, okay, so now we will style our tables. Let's write table style. Okay, so table style. Now first and foremost we want to open our table, and inside this form sign up I'll write table.html. So yesterday we had created the table. It was not very pretty looking. We'll use the table HTML. So we can directly style the table. Just try to write padding. I will always apply padding first. Padding is applied. Let's try the border, 1 pixel solid. Okay, so we have applied the solid. So now let's try to apply the style on table row. Let's write this border. So it's not applied here. If I have to apply it in table head, I have to write table head, then tr, then th. Okay, we had this table head inside table, then tr inside this table head, and then th. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to text decoration underline, right? I will remove the border here. Okay, text underline. So I will put a padding of 5px here in the table, right? I put a padding of 5px. Just remove the border from table. Okay, so right. So I also want to style the table body. Inside this I will write table, then table body, inside that table row, then inside that table data, right? So I want to first apply the padding, right? Okay, so right, just try to apply the flex justify content center. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay, flex traction, just try to change flex traction row. No, nothing is happening. We cannot apply the display flex in this. Okay, so what I can do is I can change the color of the data to a little bit grayish tone, or I can change the color of header to grayish tone, right? It's too much grayish. Let's move, go to a little bit whiter tone, right? So as you can see, we applied the style on this table and it's applied everywhere where we have used this table, right? So that is the power of using this HTML tags directly inside CSS file. It will apply on all the HTML tags inside our document. So right, so here we have applied the style to our table. So what else we can do with our table? Okay, so let me write here text align center. Okay, so our data is now in the center, right? So what if I want to take the table the whole width? Let me try width 100%. Right, our table is now taking a width of 100%. Okay, and the text is also in the center. We can actually, yeah, it's good, really good. So yeah, that is the style of our table. It's looking good. Actually, we can put our table header and table data in a grid like structure. We can't know what is this actually. So let me write here border 1 pixel solid. Right, so now our data is inside a tabular form. We can see what is inside this. So actually inside table I want to show only border at the bottom, table body and table row. I want only the border at bottom, 1 pixel solid. Okay, so it's not applying the styles on table row. Side table body, table row. It's only applying up to the table data. Okay. Let me copy this code and apply this here. Right, so it's looking a little bit better now, right? So we can say that this is the first record, the second is third, this fourth. That's good. So this is how we have styled our table, right? Okay, Triparna Sina is here. Hello, Triparna. How are you? So now let's check what we can do next. So next we will try to style. There are so many other things we can do with CSS, but we had actually not covered the CSS animations, right? CSS transformation. We will cover that in some next live stream, right? So till then, thank you for watching, right? So I should end the stream here actually. So I will be live in the next stream, right? Thank you for watching.